Hello, Professor Lory. Thank you for kindly making time for today's interview. And my name is Tian Yu. My name is Yu O, and we are both first-year Master of Education students in the LLE program at Boise. After investing ourselves in your studies on linguistic and cultural collaboration in schools and plurilingual kamishibai, we are aware that plurilingual education is extremely important in the classroom nowadays. So Professor Lory holds a PhD from the University of Montreal. She is now a professor working in the Language Studies Department at Boise at U of T. Her primary research revolves around linguistic social representation among language learners with a strong emphasis on integrating linguistic and cultural diversity into teaching practices. With a wealth of experience, she has trained teachers in Quebec and Ontario on cutting-edge plurilingual pedagogical methods. Moreover, she plays a crucial role in innovative research initiatives supporting the development of second language skills through creative expression. Today, we would like to ask you some questions related to the complexities of linguistic and cultural partnership, as well as plurilingual Kamishibai's creative approach. Before we begin, it is important to note, and we'd like to request your permission to record, that this interview will be recorded for archival purposes and it will be posted on the CERLL website. We appreciate your willingness to share your expertise, which helps not just to your learning, but also the broader educational community.
Thank you. Cutting edge, it's a lot. Maybe not that level, but okay. Thank you so much for this question. I think the context, it's because I'm a Francophone, I'm from France, and I was lucky to be able to study in Montreal, which is another Francophone environment. And coming into Ontario, because we are living in Canada, so Canada has two official languages, French and English. And before coming to Ontario, I was always in an environment where French was a dominant language, but I understood being in Ontario that French was in a minority context, and I started to understand the different kind of challenges we can have regarding to trilingualism, which was the subject of my PhD thesis. And for me, it was a way to reinforce my Francophonie by understanding a new context. So this is why I wanted to collaborate with French language schools. And this is an environment where I feel schools and the Ministry of Education really opened their doors to me. So I feel very grateful because we have true partnerships and it makes me rethink what is research. So this is part of the context. What was the second part of your question?
So what motivates you to focus on what some aspirations for the outcomes when you take these initiatives to put them to in the plurilingual education?
I feel my aspiration is to see how Francophonie can evolve, how we can be even more inclusive, and how plurilingualism can help to see the Francophonie being more open to diversity. I feel that people do already a lot, but I'm sure we can even go further. So this is my goal, I feel, to help to support the Francophonie even more inclusive, even more trilingual, and make students feel that in an English or Francophone environment, they have a space to be who they are.
context?
Once again, you have very good questions. Thank you. I think it's because studying linguistic social representation is borrowing a concept from social psychology. It's not in education, and it's help us to see how people develop or co-build images on languages, on people who are talking these languages. So using this kind of approach, this theory needs a different way of analysis. It gives me the opportunity to go beyond the classroom and to see how individual perspectives are taken into account in the classroom. So it's just not limiting the reflection to the pedagogy, but also thinking that we all as individuals have beliefs, conception that can impact our way of being a student or being even a teacher. So this is why using this methodology helped me to just see the different nuance of a learning space. I think it's in on the one-to-one basis, and it depends on the need of teachers. So, and even students, we are all at different step of a journey, and some teachers are starting to understand the benefits of prelingual education. So they are at the beginning of the journey, and while other teachers already have implemented this approach during years and years. So, and this is an advice I could give you as a PhD students or master students, that it has to be one-to-one and to see where are the needs of the participants you are collaborating with, where are they in their journey, what do they want, and how you as a researcher you can adjust. One of the biggest element of being a researcher is being able to be flexible, adjust your subject thesis, adjust your theory, being able to cross border between all the theories, and also listening to the voice of your participants, because this is where you can find something meaningful and different. Usually we are just focusing on what we do, forgetting that, at least for me, I'm working with people. I'm working with human beings, teachers, students, families, and their voice matters more than my research. So how we can collaborate together, this is what is important. So flexibility, and to see where they are at and what will be their next step in order to design a research or a tool that will help them to go further. So this will be my suggestion.
Thank you so much.
So one of my main interest in research, it's prelingualism, but it's also collaboration. And the story of the Kamishibai, prelingual Kamishibai, was about a collaborative experience. So there is an organization in France that is called du Lala. So it's d'une langue à l'autre, from one language to another. And during a few years, they started to develop this tool, the Kamishibai from Japan, and they decided to adapt it to answer the prelingual situation in France that was becoming even more present. And we met at a conference, and we decided to collaborate at an international level. So I think about 9 countries participated to a project about prelingual Kamishibai. And I was very interested in contributing to that because during my PhD, in addition to my own research, I collaborated to a research project that was about trilingual drama. And we were working with students from an immigrant background who had some delays at schools. And when they arrived in Quebec, they were welcome in a specific class. And to help them, we started this bilingual drama project. And we worked with a team and we saw the amazing benefits of bringing some artistic component in the learning process and how it can just support students in so many ways. So when I saw the Prelingual Kamishibai, I found another way of doing some prelingual drama activities and to support teachers also to use a different tool that is original, that engage students. So it was a good discovery.
For sure.
Based on text or based on, because there are so many tools in the world you can use. Photography, for example, from one of my research that I do with Professor Gail Prasad, we are documented teacher social representations on linguistic diversity in their own schools, and we ask them to bring pictures. So this is a visual component, and when they bring the picture, it's kind of a prompt, and through the picture we talk and we say, okay, why did you bring this picture? What does it mean for you? And when I was talking earlier about how to give voice to your participants, just choosing your research tool, it's also a way to give a voice to your participants. So when I'm working with schools, I'm trying to use materials that will be pedagogical, that help the teacher to feel at ease, because teachers know pedagogical materials, how to implement them. So I'm using that to collect data about their representation and the way they can implement them. When I'm mostly working to one-on-one through interview, this photo solicitation data becomes something different that can also help me to give a teacher a different kind of voice. So each time it's about the participant, how we can help them. You both know Jim Cummins, who were using the identity text as another way to collect data. So there are so many in the world, and it's just difficult to pick one. And I will suggest to for you as young researcher, what do you like? How what you are passionate about can be a way to make a bridge to research, because when we are passionate about something and we can bring it to the table, it's an amazing way to engage authentically with your participants.
Challenges.
Okay, so I think the most challenges I had was at the beginning of my journey in Ontario, because I didn't took the time to understand the challenges of being in a minority context, in a Francophone minority context. I knew it was different, but I feel that I was not sensitive enough to better understand what is it to be in a minority context, because I always have evolved in a dominant Francophone context, so it was different. And when I understood better, I found it was easier for me to talk to people, to have also it gave me some legitimacy, because when we were talking, we were understanding each other. The other element also is ethics. This is in research, this is something big, and this is, for example, requesting when you work with school board collaborations, and we know it's not easy to get. So if you are working with school, I advise you to just start early to see how you can just collaborate with school boards, and after see if they can be part of your research project.
Okay.
So I think the last part of your question is going back to what I was saying before when I started in Ontario. I feel I was not sensitive enough to the challenges that the Francophone have in Ontario. And the more I was talking to participants, collaborating with schools and even with the Ministry of Education, the better and I understood the context. And I think this is where people had more confidence in me, because I was able to listen to them. And he helped me, for example, to understand that when we talk about prelingual education, all languages are not for everybody at the same stage. Some, for example, in a classroom, in a Francophone classroom, some teacher will be more at ease to welcome languages from the students' background that are not English. And English can be seen sometimes as, because it's a the dominant language of the province. So it's very difficult for a teacher to say, okay, I welcome English from in my class. And at the beginning, I kind of didn't understand that, but now I see, because outside the school, it's so predominant in students' life that teachers feel that they are the only one who can give to their students French. So understanding that, it's make me feel differently, and said, okay, how I can help teachers, help students to see that English can be a partner in learning French. Uh, so this is when I was listening more to teachers, to families or students. This helped me to rethink my way of approaching prelingual education. And also I found that the Ministry of Education and all these policy documents can have a huge impact and can become a tool for us to advocate for prelingual education. And we are extremely lucky in French language schools, because since last September, now the French curriculum explicitly said that prelingual education is welcome in French language schools. So when you have a disapproval from the Ministry of Education, it gives you legitimacy after with your project. So I feel extremely lucky to be part of a community where officially we have linguistic policy that just highlight the benefit of plurilingual education. So this is why it's helped me to go further and to make more research.
Yes.
Yes, this is very similar. It was, and this is why I'm working with social representation on linguistic and cultural diversity, because going to the roots, it's help to change attitude. So collecting data on how social representation evolves when we are talking what people think of diversity in their classroom help me to use the right tools after to say, okay, you told me this. What do you think about that? So it's a way to help each other, I feel, because they are bringing me some insight and I can also adjust my tools to work with them. I think there are always challenges, and the more you do research, the more you are confronting to challenges, but you forget about them because this is part of who we are. Seeing that there is a challenge and how I can just change to adapt to this challenge. This is the research life, always finding some element that is not part of the initial plan, but this is also where you collect significant data. If you are able to just take another road to see something different, this is when it can become more realistic instead of just doing one trajectory and thinking, no, this is only that. So being open to a situation, and this is so common that I don't have anything in mind that can come up. It can be, for example, for our research with Gail Prasad, we tried to recruit teachers, and it was quite difficult to have a school board participating to our research because we wanted to have this interview during the school time, but we saw it was difficult to have this component with school board. So we use social media to be able to interview teachers during their personal time. So like this, we didn't need the school board approval because it was on their personal time. So this is this kind of adjustment you can do. This is like a small example, but how we can see, like, look differently to still collect data. And during your own research, you will see you will have many challenges, but it's an amazing opportunity to say, how can I be original? How I can find another road to make it work, and maybe with another insight.
Yeah.
It's always a good idea, whatever stage you are in your career, to go back to the roots and remembering what matters. And being in the classroom at the end of the day, this is what matters. This is why we are all at OISI in education, because we believe in education. We believe in the future of education. So it's, yeah, I would say that it will be good, but also when you are in a leadership position, you have so much to do that it may be not always easy. And this is why I feel very grateful to have my job, because I can still go with my books when I need to and just reflect, because you need this time with books. You need to reflect, you need to read. And I can still meet amazing students like you both and just talk about your own research project, mine, how we can see differently, commonly, and I can go to conference, and when I want, I can also go in the classroom and have a talk with teachers, with students. So it's so amazing because we have this opportunity, but the more you go up, I feel sometimes there are some barriers because you need to do so much. So I really believe that I'm at the right position.
Thank you for
I'm
that.
talking too much, right?
Okay, so
Okay, that's also a very good question that will require a lot of thinking. Um, for now, I want to continue collaborate with schools. I feel this is where I can make a difference and also where my art is. I like to collaborate with school to go more into practice to make changes. So I want to continue these partnerships with school and try of kind of making even more bridges between university setting and school setting. I think this will be my main objective to pursue.
so is it like after you started teaching at university, so university student or university policies make you have this idea or infected by like policies around the universities too, like middle school or even elementary school?
I I don't know if it was from university. It's just something that from my PhD I found very engaging, like being in the classroom to see how it happens, collaborating with teachers. So this is something I wanted to continue and that I was kind of able to continue here, not too much during the first years, but now because I feel I have more legitimacy to work on prelingualism in French language schools, I have more doors that open. And this is, you were talking about advice and building a network where you feel you have a voice and legitimacy is important for you. And this is where you can go further, I will say. So having a good network is important.
Networking is very important. Um, the field.
You mean for young teachers in the classroom?
Yeah, for young teachers or young educators like us or researchers.
I will say take the risk. The best take the risk, and this is something that I'm often saying, take the risk with a small trilingual activity and look at your students and see how they react. And this, there is no more words to say because it's just you will see, they will engage, they will feel at ease, they will feel secure, they will love school because all of themselves will have a space in the school system. So I will say take the risk to try trilingualism in your classroom, in your practice, in research as individual, and see how others react. And this is where you are going to be convinced. It's not always easy though, but it's you are in a space where you have your classmates. That is your first community you can rely on because they know the challenges you are having when a deadline is coming. They are and just relying on each other, create a group where you can help each other. So this is like this community will be essential for you to grow as a researcher because everybody after is going in another country, in another organization. Some are becoming teachers, some professor, some working for institutions like the Ministry of Education, for example, and keeping that network can just open opportunities in the future. And it's also helping each other. If you know someone who can be part of the research of your colleague, help them to reach that because at what point someone else is going to help you. So this is how a network is like you can just grow as a researcher, as a person. And I will say also go to conferences. This is where you are going to meet other students from other university, organize, why not, some Zoom collaboration, just talking about your stage of your writing process, your research. So this will help you a lot.
Yeah.
Um, it's always difficult in a way, but don't let it stop you. If you believe in prelingual education, just go step by step. It's not about changing a whole system. It's one person at a time and um, just have people you can collaborate with. So one, two to start. And there is my thesis supervisor in Montreal, Françoise Armand, was always saying that it's easier to go against the wind when we are a few people. When we are alone, it's difficult. It's just a lot. But when you are a few people, it's just you can help each other. So this is a bit like that. If it's in a hostile environment and you see it's tough, just have a lie. Just try to find people who just think like you because there is obviously like if we see how prelingual education evolves the past 50 years, it's just a huge change in at all level in the classroom, in people social representation, also in government policies. You have now so many articles that you can say, well, you see, look at this. This is proven to be effective for students at so many levels. So you have tools to advocate for prelingual education, and step by step you will have one more friend, another friend, and you will be to step by step. It's not about changing all from the beginning. Step by step. And it's a very good point because this is all the basis of doing research. It's at what point you need to make a difference. And if you are too general, you will never be able to make a difference because so many have already, except if you are the first one and you find something so amazing and different. And I'm not saying you are not, because I'm sure you are exceptional, both of you. But it's in most of the case when you are too general, it's difficult to make a difference because it's too general. But the more you can focus on one element, the more you are an expert in that domain, and the more you have knowledge to see where something is missing, where you can make a difference, because you are almost the only one with this knowledge. And this is why, yes, it is difficult, but this is where you can make a difference. And it's a little bit when we were saying before, step by step, acting at a micro level helps to go further. And this is a necessity. So it's not, and think about that, when you are a researcher, yes, you say goodbye to so many elements, but it's just temporary. It's just because at that moment in your life, you are developing an expertise. But that doesn't mean at what point, when you will be ready, you will have this expertise. You cannot say, hey, welcome back to my life. And you can add some elements. For example, you can go to using another theory you were interesting to and see how we can interconnect, because now you have this main knowledge that is very strong. So it's not easy, but don't feel it's just closing doors. It's just for now. And maybe later on you can come back to them, but it helps you to focus and become an expert. And this is what research is. I hope it helps.
Thank you so much.
So, Professor Lory, we would like to express our sincere appreciation for your time and thoughtful comments during this interview. Your expertise and dedication to researching the areas of perilingual education have given us a deeper understanding, and we are already eager to learn more and support to promote this idea in the future.
Thank you to the both of you.
Thank you.
So much.